What's up everybody, it's Robin Gaming here. So, kind of out of nowhere, Sony has recently really started hyping up their Paris Games Week conference, which they're going to be holding tomorrow. They literally tweeted out that, you know, something like E3 was only half the story, find out the rest at Paris Games Week. So that's quite some, you know, some hype that they're building up for an event that I personally always expected to not be that big of a deal, especially with the fact that, you know, PlayStation Experience is going to be coming up in just a month or something from now. So that's really where, and even still right now, I expect that we're going to be hearing more from the really exciting upcoming stuff like The Last of Us 2, Death Stranding, possibly like, you know, Sucker Punch's new IP or the next From Software game, Bloodborne 2 hopefully. But nonetheless, you know, Paris Games Week could actually turn out to have quite some significant announcements that we should be paying attention to. Really quickly, they're going to be holding this press conference tomorrow at 3 PM UK time, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, I will personally be live streaming it, so come tune in at twitch.tv/robinoyo. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'll make sure that we're going to be live. We're going to be pretty much going live already about, you know, a little bit over an hour in advance, so we can speculate a bit about it, but that there's plenty of time for you to be able to tune in still nonetheless. So like I said, it's going to be great fun. Make sure to tune in. But yeah, like I said, with all that hype that they're kind of, you know, putting behind the conference now, we may actually find out, you know, a lot more of certain games that I thought they would kind of keep for PSX. But what I basically mean by that is that I think right now we have this idea of pretty much four or five, I think, major Sony PlayStation 4 exclusive games coming out in the first half of 2018, but we still do not have any release dates on those games. So I really think that we're simply going to be seeing a lot of, release dates finally put on these games that we already know about. You know, while at the same time, we may still be in for a couple of surprises. So what I actually did is I actually wrote down some predictions on my phone that I want to be talking to you about and explaining in this video. I wrote down 3 of them. So yeah, let's simply actually get into it, and then I'll start off at number 1. So what I predict tomorrow that we will be seeing is at least 2 major upcoming PS4 games that will get a release date. My personal bets are on Detroit Become Human and on God of War. And the reason why I'm picking those games in particular is because first of all, I think that they will be coming out the earliest compared to stuff like Days Gone and Spiderman and the Shadow of the Colossus remake. I think those will kind of, you know, be released somewhere around the summer, whereas Detroit is this game that we've heard of since 2015 already, so for a long time, you know, and I think the game is kind of done already. They've not really been teasing too much about when we should really expect it to come out, but at the same time, because it's been that long of a time, and because that last game came out in 2013, I very much expect that, the game will simply, you know, be coming out very soon. I think February is actually going to be my guess on the release date. And we also know that Sony really likes to give their European studios a lot of attention during Paris Games Week. So, you know, no doubt that we're going to see some more of the Horizon DLC and stuff too from Guerrilla Games, and maybe Sony London and their VR projects or whatever. But Quantic Dream obviously is a French studio. The show itself is literally in Paris. It only seems to make sense that Detroit is going to get quite some, you know, some attention, right? So in that way, I think we're going to be hearing about a release date for that game in February. And then the other one is God of War. Once again, a game that we know is coming out somewhere early next year. That we just kind of need a date for. Like, traditionally speaking, God of War usually releases in March. So if it's once again going to be March for this one, I think it's going to be somewhere between March and May. Then, you know, announcing it at PSX would maybe be a bit too late, a bit too close on that actual release date. So Paris Games Week just seems to make sense for that. So I'm very much looking forward to that, you know, as well. Now, the next prediction, I have 2 more, like I said. The next one is that we're going to be hearing about a game that we have not heard of in a very long time. Also another European PlayStation 4 game, and that is Dreams. Dreams will finally be shown again after no substantial news since E3 2015. The announcement there actually is my prediction. Like I said, it's a game from a very, you know, talented and huge studio, Media Molecule, but at the same time, Dreams is this type of game that we heard it might have been in some development trouble. It got announced in 2015, and we have not heard of it since, really, like substantially at least. while at the same time it's like, that game is very weird. It's very artsy. It's once again this thing where they want you to really put lots of effort into making your own art, but I don't really see a video game in it yet, you know what I mean? So maybe E3 is simply not the best place to show off a game like that, and Paris Games Week, because it is a bit smaller, makes more sense that we will finally be hearing some more about Dreams from Media Molecule. So I'm not going to be predicting a release date or if we're going to see like actual, gameplay or more of a presentation, or that they change the game around. We'll see exactly what it's going to be. I just think that we're going to finally hear some more from Dreams, and it's about time because we really need to. And then the last prediction, and this, this is the thing where I've been thinking, what could be a substantial announcement at Paris Games Week. Like I said, we could see something of The Last of Us Part 2 or of Death Stranding, but it just seems to make sense that they're going to keep that for PSX. We could see Sucker Punch's new IP or Bloodborne 2 or something like that, but once again there, I'm like, if they're gonna do that, they'll do it at PSX. I don't know what it is. There is one game that I could think of that is not even likely going to be exclusive, but that could very well be announced at this show, and that is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. We've been hearing rumors of this game for a long time. Last time that we heard about, a Tomb Raider announcement, so Rise of the Tomb Raider, that was done at Gamescom, and we have already heard rumors as well that it would be announced somewhere later in 2017. At first we all thought, maybe at the Xbox conference at Gamescom, but it could very well be Paris Games Week for Sony, right? Like, it would be a pretty big thing that after the whole kind of like, this situation where obviously the previous one had some tie-ins with Xbox and people were looking at that in a very negative way on the PlayStation side, they could really be regaining a lot of like, it could simply be a pretty big announcement for Sony if all of a sudden they kind of like pull that game from Microsoft again to their own side, if you know what I mean. So it's very possible that we're going to simply see a announcement or teaser trailer or whatever. It doesn't even necessarily have to be like timed exclusive, or maybe it's going to have a marketing deal or something if it's announced, but maybe not even that. Like, it could simply be that they're going to be announcing the game on Sony's stage, just to show once again, like, hey, PlayStation fans, we're still here for you too, because I think that a lot of the people in the PlayStation community are kind of like, looking at Tomb Raider in a bit of a negative light after the whole Xbox thing, even though it doesn't really make too much sense. But nonetheless, like, that could be something pretty substantial once again that they could be announcing at the show that would make a lot of sense to me, at least. So with that being said, those were my predictions on Paris Games Week, a day before we're actually going to be seeing what this press conference will be all about. Let me know your own predictions in the comments, of course. I would really like to see what you personally think is going to be happening. And then for now, like I said, I'll be live streaming the show tomorrow at 3 p.m. UK time on twitch.tv/robinoyo, but I will already go live a little bit earlier in advance. So look forward to that, stay tuned, and then for now, thanks a lot for watching, and hope to see you again next time.